Welcome back to Newsday. Transport owners and drivers operating around the Apapa ports in Lagos have sent an SOS message to Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu over what they call illegal extortion, stealing of export trucks, and assault of truck drivers. A few days ago, the drivers obstructed the Apapa-Oshodi Expressway at Eleganza roundabout in protest, causing disruption to vehicular traffic for more than 2 hours. Some of the drivers spoke about their grievances.
Because of the extortion, the last man, Eto, MPA, road safety, area boys is taking for we truckers. Government can come to our end. When you follow my 2 roads to Tinka, we spend almost 78,000 naira. It's much. Most of our members will park their truck. We want government to bring their price down. They're not supposed to take more than 1,500 naira to book a tow. Why we pay almost 40-something, 50,000 naira on a tow? What for? How much are they paying us for a job? Look at the price of diesel. Diesel is 900 naira per liter. You take a job from here, you are going to Okoko. Erabo will take more than 30,000 naira for road. Let government checkmate them. Let government come.
What we need from government is that they should help us look toward our works, because we didn't have any other way. This is the only way we are taking to manage our family. Please, they should please help us. The area boys are in our gain, and while we are still struggling, I hope this view will reach them. And I'm pleading them by the name of God. At least everyone is working to earn his sweat. Please, the more we are working, is the more we are paying those area boys. At least some area boys, like I'm heard of now, each single local government, they are giving us more than 5 tickets. And single ticket of their ticket is 1,000 naira. Without paying them, they will start beating drivers.
Well, joining us now to discuss this for a while is Jama Onwubuariri, who is a co-founder and managing director, Trucks Transit Parks Limited, owners of the Eto proprietary technology. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Now, of course, you saw the protesters and the truck drivers. Yes. What do you make of their claims?
I think they are right. I think they are right that they are still being subjected to extortion, to intimidation, to damage of their trucks, to obstruction of their movement. And all of this, I can say, very frustrating for someone who has complied with the process that's been put in place for access for trucks coming into Apapa and the environs. So, to a large extent, I think that their allegations of harassment and intimidation and extortion is largely correct.
All right. Maybe you ought to give us a brief genesis of the truck drivers' protest in Apapa recently and your company's involvement in it, and give us more insight on this call-up. I think some years back it was supposed to ease the gridlock, as it were, and how impactful has that been so far?
Okay. While I may not be able to speak directly on the genesis of their protest, I can speak about the call-up system, its impact, and maybe what needs to be done to perfect the system. So the call-up system was designed by our company, Trucks Transit Parks Limited, after about 6 years of research, going back to 2013. And the research was basically to understand how other countries have been able to manage their truck traffic, especially in port cities. We had to go abroad, Germany, UAE, US, the UK, to find out how this problem doesn't affect the rest of their traffic. And we tried to curate what we have learned from this external research to our local situation. Nigeria is a very unique place. As about 2018, the Nigerian Authority started looking for solutions to the issue of port access, especially as it relates to the traffic congestion. And I think it was a need they had, meeting an opportunity, which we had. So that relationship also involved the Lagos State government to provide enforcement, to ensure that whatever policies the Nigerian Ports Authority make in relation to how trucks will come into the port, and then is implemented by us using technology, that the enforcement support will come from Lagos State government. So you can call it a PPP or a tripartite arrangement. And our role was to ensure that there are digital solutions to the problem, and the Nigerian Ports Authority was to make policies that will then be digitized by us and implemented by us, and where enforcement is required, Lagos State through the last mile police and other agencies were meant to come in. So that's what the setup is. Now, in terms of what impact it has had, I think it is best represented by numbers. Before March of 2021, if you were coming from Lekki or Yaba to the port as a passenger in a private vehicle, you probably have to budget about 3 hours to do that. Now it takes between 45 minutes and an hour to get into the port from any of these two locations. You would also notice back then that you have truck traffic trailing back up to Nipano, sometimes Surulere. And if you're familiar with these environments, you would notice that the traffic gets up all the way there. Now, that traffic is reduced to is impossible if the will is there. We also know for sure that there are limitations to what a computer can do, right? So you may not be able to use a computer to remove an officer of the law from the road, but you can use it to capture what it is that he is doing and then escalate it to those who can take action. Then action is now required to be taken by whoever is responsible for taking that action. But it's an ongoing conversation. We are constantly in touch with both the drivers themselves. We even have a committee made up of transporters who advise us from time to time as to the challenges they are having, and they also contribute their own ideas as to how this can be fixed. So to the extent that it depends on us, we digitize those solutions after approval by MPA, and we then require the Lagos State government, where necessary, to bring in the necessary enforcement. So we are capturing not just the complaints, but also solutions we believe can be digitized to solve it, and then we are trying to ensure that those complaints are properly channeled to the right authority, who then requires to take action to deal with them.
You know, I'm so sorry. You mentioned the Nigerian Ports Authority has this open door policy, but yes, how open can it be if they had to resort to, you know, staging a protest and causing non-vehicular movement for 2 hours? So is this more, you know, nominal than literal in the end?
Okay, Cynthia, you will appreciate that in a tripartite arrangement, everybody have their roles and responsibilities. And there are, I will say, there are limitations to what one partner can do if it is really the responsibility of another partner. And if you listen to the truck drivers, I hear some of them say something like area boys. Now, MPA cannot do anything about area boys, right? They can't go chasing area boys. So it is something that state actors need to, enforcement need to take care of. And if there are challenges, either political or logistic, to dislodging these area boys, that would impact the efficiency of the system that has been put in place, irrespective of how efficiently any other partner has performed their roles.
It's been said that this system is a bit expensive, and I want us to also touch on specifics regarding the 5,000 naira demurrage. What exactly is that for? Okay.
Before we talk of what it is now, let's talk about what it was before.
Indeed.
Yes, before March of 2021, if you have a 40-foot container that you want to bring into the port or any of the warehouses within Apapa, you'll most likely pay between 250,000, sometimes to 300,000, informally. So this payment is not going to any government pocket, it's not going to any TSA, it's simply going to a network, an extortion network, right? So you need to know somebody who will get to the people who will give you access. And so there's that distribution of the money that you pay. And there's no guarantee that even after paying this money, you get to the final turn-back point. If something happens, you could be turned back, and then you go back to the back of the queue. what we've done now is to remove that necessity for you to have to grease anybody's palm before you can access this control location. Now, depending on what resources or what facilities you have, if, for instance, you have your own park, and the park is authorized or licensed to be on the network of the call-up system, you could pay as little as 10,000 to access the port. If you don't have any of your own facility and you have to use third-party facilities, depending on the distance from where you're coming from to the port, you could use a minimum of 2 facilities before you get to the port. So that can take you to about 20,000. Now, if it happens that the particular business you're coming to do is not one that, so there are different categories, right? So it could be you are returning an empty container, or you are bringing an export container into the port, or you are a flatbed that is going to evacuate cargo from the port. So depending on the category, you won't pay anything above 30,000. It can be as little as 5,000 for some, right? Because of the facilities they themselves already own that are part of the network. It can be up to 30,000. But what is the difference between 30,000 and 250,000 that the same truck would have paid a year and 3 months ago? So that is the difference between light and day of what they were experiencing and what it is now. And with this, you are guaranteed that within 2 to 3 days, at the maximum, you'll be in the port. Something that used to take 2 weeks before today.
Well, I'd love to go on that. And even just to add to that, it's been said that before the call-up, even the security forces have been accused of that extortion ring as well. But that's as much as we can take on Jama Onwubuariri, co-founder, managing director, Trucks Transit Park Limited. It's good to have you with us on the program.
Thank you very much, Nia. Thank you very much,
Thank
Cynthia.
you.
Thank you.
You're watching News.